Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Papercrafting Australia's tutorial for the Card of the Month kit for July 2021. My name is Tangi. Thank you, and sorry for the interruption and the weird intro. I've got some drilling going on in the background that just kind of threw me off my game a little bit while we quickly started the live. So thanks to my partner for drilling into the house while we go live. Hopefully it's only 4 holes and he'll be done. He's just putting up some fantastic, what do you call them? Clotheslines. Yep, clotheslines. So that's what's happening in the background. So hopefully you can't hear that, but it did just throw me just for a loop as we started. But welcome. We are going to be working on a one sheet wonder. I need to be very careful I don't say shit instead of sheet. So it's a one sheet wonder today. So we're going to be using one 6x6 inch piece of pattern paper to make 6 different card designs. So hopefully you are ready and waiting. Happy to have you all here. Again, if you haven't been in this afternoon or you're watching this on the replay, thanks for coming back and joining us. But we will get started. Hi Tony, thank you so much for joining us again. After we did our Crafternoon box earlier, Sharon's back as well, and we've got Michelle on Facebook having a watch as well. Thank you for joining us. If you are new, please pop into the chat to let us know where you're from, how you found us, and we will get started. So I'm just going to get to the right camera perhaps. So this is what we are working on today. So these black squares were once a 6x6 inch piece of cardstock. I'm just going to open this window and see if I can get bit more light onto the situation. So yeah, 6x6 inch piece of cardstock, and we're going to cut it down so that we can make some small sections. Obviously it'll be patterned paper and not black cardstock, but this is these are the dimensions and the pieces that we're going to piece together into the 6 cards. So don't panic if you haven't got time to write these down. I'll pop a photo of these up on our Facebook page later this afternoon. And I'll also give you the dimensions in the YouTube feed as well, and we'll go through and get cutting. So I'm just going to pop this off over to the side, somewhere over on my desk over there, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to be working with. So I've got some brown cardstock. I've already done a live today, so I'm a little bit more. This is the cinnamon cardstock from Papercraft. It's the weave textured cardstock. I've also got just this one piece of patterned paper that I'm going to use for my backgrounds and my pieces that I'm going to use. So I'm going to use these, cut them the same as the 6x6 inch diagram that we showed before, and then I'm going to border that or back that with the brown or cinnamon cardstock, and I'm going to pop those onto some A6 sized cards. So this is the A6 Australian size cards. So that's what we're going to be working with on these today. It will also work equally as well on the larger 5x7 inch cards that we have in the kits, but I'm just going to kind of do it on the A6 cards today. You can then kind of look at amending your sizes and things if you think that they're a little bit small on a 5x7 inch and go from there. I would suggest you're probably going to want to double it the size wise. I've also got a bunch of these. This is one of the pages out of the Explorer, Papercraft Explorer 6x6 inch patterned papers that we've got this one from. And I've also got a bunch of the little bits of ephemera and sentiments and things that have come out of the Explorer kit as well. So I'm going to be using that as we go along. All right, let's get started. Let's take our 6x6 inch piece of pattern paper. Now, if you have chosen pattern paper that has a particular pattern with it, make sure that you are kind of keeping up with how we're kind of turning things and going from there. So what I'm going to do is, if this paper was pattern up, we're actually going to turn it on its side and cut it in half. So we're going to cut 3 inches here. So we've now got 2 sections that are 3 inches by 6 inches, and I'm going to refer to these as the top and the bottom. Oh, hang on, that's not even. What have I done? Oh, I've cut to 3. This might be a 6.5 inch. It is. It's a 6.5 inch paper. Sorry, my bad. Just trim that off. Now we've got 2 even 3 by 6 inch pieces of pattern paper. That was a good start, wasn't it? Okay. Now from the first piece, so from the top, and if we hold it lengthwise, we're going to cut one piece at 2 inches. Just like that. So that is now a 2-inch wide by 3-inch tall piece. We are then going to cut the next piece in this little group off at 3 inches. So that one is now a 3 by 3 inch piece of pattern paper. And then these last ones, yeah, I should have cut this down because this is actually a 6.5 inch patterned paper pad. I didn't cut these long bits. Bear with me, I'm just cutting this actually down to a 6-inch long piece. Would be good. What a drop kick. There we go. So this last little piece that you've got cut off, so you've got 2 inches, then 3 inches, and then you'll have 1 inch left. Okay, so then what we're going to do is just turn it so that it is long ways, and we're just going to cut this into 3 1-inch cubes. There's one. This is a little bit, I should have done this bit with my guillotine because it is a little bit easier to cut the smaller sections. Never mind. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that's those little pieces there. Now with your bottom section, we are going to cut this piece. We're going to cut 2 1/4 inches across. Pop that piece there. We are then going to cut 1 inch. Just like that. We're also going to cut 1 more inch. Oops, that has gone a little bit wonky on me. And then the remainder that you've got there should be 1 3/4 inches. Okay, so this piece on the end we're going to leave as is. The first piece that we've cut, so this is the 2 1/4 inch wide. We're going to turn that one on its side and we're going to cut that down to 1 1/2 inches. So we should have had a piece that was 3 inches by 2 1/4, and we're just going to cut that in half horizontally. So you should then have 2 1/4 inches wide by 1 1/2 inches tall for both of those pieces. We're then going to do almost the same with these and turn those on their side and cut 1 1/2 inch pieces as well. So with these patterns that I'm doing today, there are a number of one sheet wonder diagrams doing the rounds of the internet that will show you how you can use one sheet of paper to come up with a whole bunch of different cuts that you will then be able to use on your cards. So with this, we now have this panel is for card number 1, this panel is for card number 2, these panels here are for card number 3, these ones for card number 4, these ones in the middle for card number 5, and this final one for card number 6. So we're going to be able to get 6 different cards out of all of that. Now what we then want to do is we can do it as we go, but we might as well kind of cut the backgrounds before we go too far. So for each one, if you want, it depends on what size of border you want around your patterned paper. What would we like to do on this one? Would we like to go 1/8 inch borders all around, or do we want to do 1/4 inch borders all the way around? Let me know in the chat what you would prefer. What's your go-to when you do a border color? And if you're not quite sure what we're talking about, I'm talking about this kind of edge. So if we were to put a solid border around our patterned paper here, are we wanting something that is sort of 1/8 of an inch all the way around? Are we wanting it bigger? What do you like? What do we like? Let me know. Got to give everybody time for the chat to work. I'm going to start with the bigger ones. So we've got some that are 3 by 3 inches. I'm going to cut one piece down at the moment. I'm going to cut it to 3 1/4 inches, and I'll show you what a 1/8 of an inch border is going to look at. Sharon says 1/8. Any other takers? Do we not know what we're really talking about? I'm just going to trim this off manually because this trimmer doesn't go past 12 inches. This gets a little bit dicey. So this is a 1/8 border. So it's basically us adding 1/4 of an inch around to the width of each of our measurements. So if we want to go with that, something like an 1/8. Tiny's sitting on the fence and saying depends on the cards. All right, let's go with adding a 1/8 border all the way around, which means that for each of our dimensions that we went through with our papers, we're going to need to cut an extra 1/4 of an inch over that. So for this one, for card 2, we're going to need to cut 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 inches. Kind of makes it easier to do it as 8ths, I think. Just like that. Alrighty, this little guy over here. So this one we have measures 2 by 3 inches. So we know we've already got the 3 1/4 inches this way from this one. So then the 2 inches we're going to need to cut 3 1/4 by 2 1/4. How are we all going today? Did anybody not join us for the one earlier today? It's all good if you didn't. You can go back and watch the replay on YouTube and Facebook, so you haven't missed anything. Might give you some other things that you might think of. Okay, this one for card 6 as well. We've also got a 3 inch by 1 3/4. So we're going to need to cut that to 3 1/4, which we know we've already got here, by 2 inches. I'll pop all these dimensions up a little bit later on the YouTube and the Facebook feeds as well, just so that if you've missed them or you just want to watch while we go through the first one. Hey, that's cut a little bit crooked. I think I did something weird with that piece before. Might have been the one that I cut a little bit crooked on an angle. It's handmade. It's all good. Okay, these little guys down here, so these ones we are at 2 1/4 by 1 1/2. So we're going to want to cut some of this down. So first I'm going to cut my 1 3/4 inch. I'm going to cut 2 of these, so 1 3/4. Get over there. And then for this, I'm going to want to go to 2 1/2 inches. Just going to check that and make sure I've got my measurements right. Yeah, looks pretty good there. So we're going 2 1/2. Don't know if you can still hear the drilling outside. He's going into brick, so you know, he's right at the opposite end of the house, but it is quite loud. So apologies if you've got that going through your brain right now. Okay, I reckon I'll get a couple of 1 1/4 inch. Let's have a look. Whoa, I might just make it. But to be safe, I'm just going to cut another strip. Now we know that these strips here are also 1 inch wide. So if we cut off a 12 inch sheet, so we've already cut a 3 1/4 inch strip off. And now I'm just going to cut 1 1/4 inches as a strip there. And that should get us through all 4 of these pieces and all 3 of these. All right. Just going from this end because this trimmer does not enjoy long pieces. So 1 1/4 inches wide. Pop that bit aside. And then we know that these are all 1 inch, so we need to cut 3 1 1/4 inch pieces. Oh, that's good to know, Tony, that you can't hear him. That's great. I always worry when we're making a racket in other parts of the house that it'll end up on the feed. Another strip here at 1 1/4. And one more at 1 1/4. All quiet. Clearly he's not making enough noise. I think the neighbours would disagree. Sure, they can all hear very, very clearly that there's crazy noise going on outside. Okay, finally we've got 4 pieces down here. Now these are 1 1/2 inches long, so we're going to want to cut 3 sections that are 1 3/4 inches long. Just making sure my measurements are correct. Tony, you think your neighbour's doing the same or sanding? Been going for 2 hours. Oh God, I hope it doesn't take him 2 hours to put the clotheslines up. There's only 4 holes to drill, but there's 2 clotheslines to put up, one for us and one for Ben's mum in the other half of the house. So, you know, there's 8 holes he has to drill, and it is going into brick. So, I don't know, maybe it'll take longer than I think. This is the 3rd one at 1 3/4. And one final one, and we'll have all of these pieces for the moment. Happy days. So we've really only scrapped a couple of little pieces. We haven't really wasted too much out of that. So we've still got quite a big chunk of cardstock that we can use there. So what we'll do is we'll get to... I'll get to taping these together so that they're movable pieces. We can have a little bit of a chat while we're doing that. Actually, do you know what? I might use glue because I did a lot of tape on the last feed and it just felt like it took me forever. I'm sure people would just like hurry up and get on with it. Be nice if we could fast forward these little bits, wouldn't it? Sharon, you can't hear anything except for rain. Oh. Wish we heard rain. I know you guys have had lots of it in Adelaide, but we could do with some down here. All we've had is wind, just blowing a gale. I wonder if Gail's watching today. Bet she's not. She's got such a good social life. I'm sure she's out and about doing things. But hands up if you're locked down anywhere. We've just come out of lockdown in Melbourne, so it's been quite nice to have a little bit of freedom again. Anybody recently vaccinated or got their booking for their next vaccination? I know it's been hard for some people to be able to get on meet the criteria to get on the list, but hopefully we're heading in the right direction. Got a picture-in-picture going on my iPad of what's going on the live stream. I don't know why I've got 2 lots of it, but anyway, that's what's happening. Everybody's obviously got their fingers working on cardstock and paper because they're not typing on keyboards, that's okay. I know some of you like to watch and do it later, and others like to just get in and do it. Just making sure that I'm gluing these pieces to the right side of the cardstock because I want the weave side to show up just for a little bit of extra interest and texture. Oops, that's a bit wonky. Oh gosh. Margaret's done with 2 shots. Yep, I've had 2. Jenny's having a second AstraZeneca this week. Well done. Tony wants, oh, Tony, you want the rain? That's, yeah, we'll be more than welcome. We've just had the wind, so it's just been a dust bowl. And because there's lots of houses building around us, we've been getting out into the street, and there's polystyrene waffles and bits of building junk just flying around the streets. It's been really windy. It was bin day yesterday, and you could tell when all the bins in the street had been emptied because they were all laying down sideways. Because once they had no weight in them to hold them upright, they fell over. So I went out into the street, and it was like all of our bins had had a big party, got together, gotten really drunk, and then just fallen over. It was wild. And Sharon's out of lockdown but staying home. That's a sensible move. As I said on my earlier stream, we went to Bunnings earlier. I'm super happy because I got my Bunnings sausages. One on the way in, one on the way out. That's the plan. And yeah, so we did that, but there were people everywhere. It was like the shops had been shut. I mean, we've only been in lockdown for 2 weeks this time. But it was like the shops had never been open, and it was a brand new thing, and everyone was just going crazy for it. The car park was chock-a-block. There were kids everywhere with their families. Yeah, it was busy. Probably the busiest I've seen Bunnings in a long time. But we got in, got the few things that we needed for the house, and away we went. So get in, get out, get done. Okay. Oh, Sharon, you've got a 6-week wait. 6-week wait. For the second one or for the first one? Is it just like a really long line for your eligibility group? It'd just be good if they could hurry up and roll it out. I understand it's like we just don't have enough people, enough hands on deck to do it. But you kind of think with the COVID testing situation, if we'd been able to roll in, like, I don't know, the Defence Forces to maybe get trained on how to do the testing. I mean, they've got a pretty good routines and things and rules that they follow, so they could have done it and freed up the nurses to do the injections. I don't know. I just feel like we maybe could have done it better than we have. But we'll see. We'll see. Scotty from marketing's got a plan. The old Prime Minister for New South Wales. Let's see. Let's see if his plan works now that he's finally realised that we actually need a plan that wasn't the plan that he had before. So many people booking in. Oh, so that's your first one. Yeah. Yep, it's a long line. And I mean, I don't know about elsewhere, but here in Victoria, I think people under 40 still can't get a vaccine at all. I just think it's outrageous. Anyway, I'm not a doctor and I don't work in the health industry, so I don't understand how it's all going, but it doesn't feel like we could actually do it. Yeah, but with the ADF actually, I know they're on board doing some things, but not all the things I think they could be capable of doing, maybe? I don't know. What do I know? Okay, so now we've got all of our little bits and pieces. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna put 6 cards out. I'm just gonna burnish them all, fold them all over, get them all kind of burnished, and we can start laying all of these bits out. This is a really good way of being able to make a series of cards without wasting any of your precious patterned paper, particularly if it's a really nice paper that you love. You don't, and look, you don't, it doesn't have to be a paper that you love, but, you know, I'm always one of those people who is you know, I hate having to go, oh, there's this much of a piece of paper that I had to cut off and now I have to throw it away because I can't use it on anything. So, you know, this might help. put together a collection of cards. If you were doing 6, you know, you want to do a box set for a friend as a gift, you know, you could make up these six cards. And I mean, how much of a, like, we haven't even used 6 inches of a 12-inch piece of cardstock, so you could definitely do 2 sets using the same background cardstock. Obviously, you'd need an extra piece of 6 by 6 inch paper, but you could find one that kind of also matches, or goes in and, you know, works together. So in the first card, I'm just gonna, now that I've got a bigger desk that I can put so much more things on, so many more things on. What kind of English was that, Tangy? All right, oops, that's not how this one goes. This one goes here. I'm just going to lay these out, and then we can start kind of playing with placements and how we want things to go. Put card number 3, which is going to go like this. And again, this might not be your cup of tea. You might not like it, but you can use all of these pieces, overlap them, do different things with them to come up with a couple of different layouts. Plenty of them all over the internet, all doing the rounds. You can, you know, mix and match and play around as much as you like. And this one is in here. Okay, so this is the starting point of where we're going to start with the layouts. Jenny says she's got 2 sons in the army, 1 involved with contact tracing. Okay, so they're more administrative than on the ground. But if they're doing some of the testing stations, I think they're security-based stuff in testing stations, not necessarily doing the swabs and the testing. I don't know. I feel like it's a bit of a waste of them going door to door doing the checking that people are home kind of thing. I don't know. Anyways, doing more. I think we could have thrown them in and they could have done a lot more, a lot earlier. But these are kind of starting points, if we like, as to where we might want to go with a layout and with embellishing, because obviously there's a lot of embellishing you can do. You can, you know, put bling on it. You can add, you know, ribbon or anything that you like to go along with the designs. But this is just a really good place to start, I suppose. I think because this is a long one, I really like this long sentiment to go underneath. It says, "Life is one big awesome adventure." What else have I got in here? Got a farewell and wishing you all the best. I've got, this is a brown one, that's some birthday wishes. I might be able to pop up in there perhaps somewhere. Oh, that would be, I like that because it's a really long strip, but I don't know if I've got anywhere that I could maybe put it. I could maybe put it along the bottom of there, make that a little bit more inventive. What else have we got over here? Lots of little bits. I like these little, I don't know what you'd call these, just little tab kind of things, I suppose. Look, I've got another one. Got matching ones. Could I? It's not quite the right size. No. I might be able to put it there with a little blip on it. What else have we got over here? And there's a blue one that says adventure, diary ready, fly, go discover, voyage, roam and explore, like roam, explore. Ink blending backgrounds would be really lovely as well. Good idea. Yeah. What have I got on the back of this? Oh, there's another strip of that. Maybe I could use that in behind there somewhere. wishing you the best on your journey. I mean, that's even a good sentiment just for, you know, somebody who's, you know, leaving the place that you work at, or don't know, doesn't have to be, you know, that they're moving in general. It's a bit more masculine. I mean, these colours are a little bit, you know, a bit more muted, but they still work. What else have I got floating around over here? Adventure awaits. Ooh, that's a fun one. Again, that could be, you know, just going to school, starting a new job, moving on. Go where you feel the most alive. That's a good one. All right, well, I think maybe out of that lot, I might have enough just to kind of make these ones all do their thing. I don't think there's any other bits and bobs that we might want to put on there. Oh, the only thing I might want to put here is just a strip of cardstock. Let me just trim a little bit off here. The old guillotine off on the side. Yeah, I'll just put a strip under that. One of those, and I can pop that little doodle-lily on there. Alrighty, what are we thinking? What do we think? Alright, let's start putting things together then. I'll start from the bottom and work my way up. I'll just glue that down first. Come on, glue. Whoops. Nearly dropped it off the table. I love this paper because it's got like all the passport stamps on it, but then it's some of them are printed, so embossed, so they're, you know, you can feel them. It's a nice little bonus on the paper. Let's turn this around and cut. Trim that little bit off. Have that right up in the corner. Amazing how so little can go so far. Absolutely, Tony. This is the, I guess, the one learning, I guess, from doing this kind of a project, is that you really don't need to have too much. You've got some, you know, nice card bases, piece of nice paper, and some decent cardstock. And you're pretty much there. I'm just going to pop this one up. This little sentiment just on a bit of foam tape. So again, we do have the foam tape, the double-sided thin tape, and the card bases and envelopes are available in our online store at papercraftingaustralia.com. So if you're thinking you've got plenty of pattern paper laying around, but you want to put together a couple of kits or things like that, then, you know, by all means, jump onto the site, place an order. We'll get it out to you as quickly as we can, yeah, you'll be making groups of cards in no time. I forgot to cut all these little burrs off. Just trim those now. Who was saying before that they get the double-sided tape stuck to their fingers. That's happening to me right now. I think it might have been you, Tony. Yeah, it just does need a little bit of bling. I'm going to add a little bit of bling and maybe a little bit of our little timber pieces to some of these when I'm done. Okay, there's that one. I'll get this one down from the top. I'll just switcheroo. Now I think with this one, what I want to do is put a backing. I want to do a backing of the brown, but then I want to do maybe some grey, the concrete colour, in the middle as well. Good enough that way. Let's see, how wide do we think we need these to be? Maybe 2.5. Pop this over the top of everything. I'm going to cut a panel. So a panel of the grey that's 2.5 inches. And then our cards are, gosh, what are we looking at? 147 mil. Doing this in millimeters because it is just a little bit more accurate than inches on these Australian size cards. What did I go into? 2.5. So off my brown, actually let's just see how that looks on the grey first of all. I might think that I've done too many colours. Oh, it does add a little bit of something to it. What do we think? The grey, it needs a board, like it needs strips, doesn't it? Of brown. So I'll cut a little strip of brown. It's starting to get quite thick, so I just want to make sure that these strips can be relatively thin. I'm just eyeballing them, so they're not going to be a perfect like 1/8 of an inch. But I could have put a whole entire piece of cardstock underneath, but to me that's just a bit of a waste of cardstock. Because it then starts to get a little bit, I don't know, just feels like it's too thick and it's like a whole chunk of cardstock that's just underneath and you don't really see it, so it's a bit of a waste. All right, let's have a go at that. I'll take these guys off. Let's glue this one up. Need my little glue stand. Keep my glue upright. Okay. Just put it in there like that for the moment. Oops. Ugh, now I've got my finger in it. Good on you. What a dork. Okay. Put that there, and I'm just going to get my glue pen and run a little bit. Oops. Just a little thin line along the edge. I can kind of use that little edge of the cardstock to run my glue pen along, and it just gives me a really fine little line of glue, and it'll be right in the perfect spot for that little strip. There we go. Another one under the bottom. What's everybody got planned for dinner tonight? I think we're on the pasta bandwagon tonight. A little pasta. There we go. Then, oops, off. All right, I'm going to try and eyeball the middle, somewhere there. Pop these two up on foam tape. I probably could have put the middle one up, but I feel like that's too logical, like too common. Let's put these on here first. This is great that even though I'm working so low down, so far close to me, you can actually see everything that I'm doing. Finally, hooray! Getting the new table has been the best thing ever. And I've got plenty of space to my right for storing all the bits that I'm going to use for this session and stuff like that, so that's good. It's very handy. I should use the overhead camera to be able to line that up. That would be good. Instead of trying to see from a weird angle that I'm on. Oh, how are you going out there? Everybody's making things and sticking them together. Okay. And then we just have this little sentiment, which I think just need to cut it down just a little bit. Oops. Get over there, you guys. And I'm just going to cut a little flag in on the end. Okay, actually, you could probably go up on some foam tape as well. Why not? The more foam tape, the merrier, I say. There we go. Oh, nearly went to put that upside down. That would have gone down well. There we go. And I'm just going to flip that card over and trim these little strips off. Just to the edge of the card. Oh, they did not perfect on there, but that's right. They don't have to be perfect. All right, there's two done. Let's get in and get some woods. Gosh, now I've made a mess. What are you doing over here? Here we go. This is another one that I feel like needs a strip or something just to anchor this to the card in some way. Maybe it's just once we put something else on here. No, it still needs a strip. It still needs a strip. I'm going to think about that one a little bit more. You can go up there. All right. This is a pretty simple, pretty simple one. Pop the big square up the top. Okay, good thing. Here we go. Now I'm going to try and keep it so that we've got some kind of equal distance-ish around that panel. It's something a bit heavier than what I've currently got and a bit bigger. Just to give it a push down, get it to stick honestly. I've got bigger acrylic blocks, but normally bigger than this would be too much, but this does the job for the moment. I'll leave that there. Let's put the rest of this down. Something like that. This little guy. Again, got to cut his little tabs off. Little burrs on the side. That's right. Against a white card, you can't really see that too badly. And then I'll put a bit of foam tape now. Remember to cut these little bits off. Just the little burrs where it was in the little pop-out page. Trim, trim. Now we can put some foam tape on the back. There we go. Backing paper is my enemy. Okay. Flip that over, trim that little bit off. I'll leave that one there. Still thinking about that one. All right. This little guy along the bottom. I just normally put like a little bit of glue just where the edge of where I'm going to need to cut it off is, just so that I've got glue on the inside edge, but I haven't got it kind of going over where I'm going to have to trim it off and get glue all over my scissors. I try anyway. It doesn't always work. It doesn't always solve the problem. Now again, with these cards, I mean, I'm putting pop-up sentiments and things on them, but if you've got stamp sets that have got, you know, thank you or nice greetings or sentiments that you'd prefer to stamp on, absolutely go to town, stamp it on. You know, I would certainly do it if I had my stamps out and I could find one that I thought was appropriate. I'd probably go for it, but at the moment, it's easier for me with the things that I've got available to just do this. Right, pop that one there, hold him down. Everyone's gone very quiet in the chat. Must be a lot of gluing and things going on. Here we go. All right, just going to let that one sit for a second. Actually, I can trim any burrs off this little panel while I wait for that to set. I think this is a really great technique to do just with, you know, being able to embellish it any way you want with whatever you've got. I mean, you could use wrapping paper instead of pattern paper. You've got, you know, it'd be great to do a collection of Christmas cards like this with, you know, you've just got a couple of, you know, Christmas coloured sequins or something that you want to do, you know, the bling with, or, you know, and you could use Christmas wrapping paper, all those little tiny scraps of wrapping paper that we have left over every year. You could just use that. That would be a great little collection. And also a great gift, because who doesn't need a Christmas card or 6? That'd be good. Oh dear. Just release. That would be good. There we go. We swap with that. Glue. It's like, what did I want? Glue. Glue 4. Now, I know in my old craft room I would have been able to turn around and there was a roll of brown paper raffia right behind me, and it's what I want right now, because I actually wanted to pop this one up and then hang this off as a bit of a dangle, and I could tie it through. But I'm clearly not going to be able to do that because I don't have that paper raffia there. It's in a box somewhere. Somewhere. But I can pop that one up, and then maybe I can get my, if I can find what I'm looking for later, I could actually tie that through, make a nice little loop bow and make it look like it was hung off the card. Kind of like a little bit of brown string. Trying to think what I've got laying around the house at the moment. There's a lot laying around the house. It's just none of it's craft supplies that make me want to do anything. I feel like this is a little bit plain and boring, but we can fix that. Okay. Oh, I know what I could do with this. Where's my... Who was talking about inking things before? I know I should have done this before I put things on. Okay. Get some more smudgy goodness in there. So I've just got the Gina K Designs Craft. So it's just that kind of lightish brown. And I'm just giving it a bit of a, almost like a pirate treasure map type of feel. But again, I think whoever said before, ink blending some backgrounds, that also would work really nicely. And this could probably benefit from having a little bit more ink blending under it. But for the moment, this is what it is. We'll see. We might add something to it. There we go. Just gives it a little bit of something different for the moment. All right, this one. This is my nemesis today. It's like, what do we want to do with this? Maybe it's not that. What else have we got? What else? What else? I was looking for ones that were in that sort of brown or black kind of. Well, maybe I could just do a birthday wishes. kind of doesn't fit. Is it that it needs something like this under it to kind of tie it together? Does that need to go all the way across? What do we think? I think if that went all the way across, I think I'd be happier with that. Let's trim a little, just a little bit. You liking these, Tony? Judging by your comment. Sharon says distressing the edge gives it a whole new look. Yeah, with this one it does make it look like a completely different card now. Oops. Went to take the cap off and the cap was already off. It's about to get a handful of glue. What a deal. Great. Count back. There we go. All right, so if that one's that high, we kind of wanted that about halfway, I reckon. Have I done it straight is the next question. Sort of kind of as close as it's going to get. Now, putting one on for a bit of size and proportion, just to figure out where to keep my gaps. I mean, I could also pop one or two of these up onto foam just to give it a bit of extra dimension. I might do that with this next one. Also, cardstock going over cardstock is sometimes a little bit tricky. Get off. So pop that one up and I'll pop this one up. There's always one in a group of things that you do that you just don't think is as nice or as good as the other one. Happens to me all the time. If I do a set of things, it's generally the first one that I do I don't like as much as the ones that come after that, because you've kind of developed a bit of a style, or a theme, or like if you start ink blending something and you start with one color and then you move on to do something else and you're just like, oh no, I actually like this more than I like the first one that I did. It's like the first pancake. When that comes out and you're just like, oh, you're the bad pancake. You still eat it, but it's not as good as the ones that come afterwards. That's what crafting is like. The first card is like the bad pancake. Here we go. Well, I think we've redeemed it. Might leave this one flat. All the others are kind of popped up. I'll make this one different. Here we go. Flip that over and trim that off. All right, now it's time to glue some of these guys on. Okay, there is a right side and a wrong side to the hot air balloon. So on one side it's got the little weaves for the basket. On the other side it's plain. I mean, who says it's wrong or right to have the weaves on one side or not? use it however you like. I kind of like the little texture of the weave. Oh, I've got this little one up here. Put that there. I feel like I had some other ones of those. No, I might leave those and not do any more, but I'm going to try. Yeah, maybe that's not there. No, here they are. Got my silver bling. Silver works with everything. I feel like that's like a, it's almost like an exclamation mark, but it's always almost like that's the money spot, the bling spot. Right there at the bottom of the little, you've come here. Where else do we need bling, guys? Maybe some little ones in the corner of, oops, this little guy. Oop. Not quite in the right spot there. Oops. Come here, you. Here we go. What if we put a big one on that little hole? And then it looks like it's a stud holding it on, like a rivet almost. Then I think I might need just a little ellipsis of bling. Right spot you. Go, getting things to land where you want them to. Sometimes easier said than done. There we go. Bit of that. Oops. Upside down, Miss Jane. Just to finish them off. I feel like this needs maybe not a world. Does it need a plain? We'll put a plain on that one. Nearly there. I feel like I keep saying that. It's nearly there, we're nearly there. And we're never there. Tweezers. All right, how are we looking? So these two haven't got any bling on them, but I think that's okay. Everything else has kind of got, let's pull them all down into shot properly. Everything's kind of got something on it to make it look pretty, but that's essentially what you can do with one sheet of 6 by 6 inch cardstock paper and a few bits of ephemera or some stamp sets or whatever it is that you may have. You might have some really nice die cuts that you want to use. All good. You can make a bunch of 6 cards pretty quick and yeah, it would be perfect for your Christmas cards. So thank you so much for joining me for the hour. I hope that you have learnt something from being able to cut apart a 6 by 6 inch piece of paper, or a 6.5 inch that I used before and had to cut it down. Whoops. But yes, that's one technique and one set of layouts that you can do. Feel free to Google one sheet wonders. You'll find many different layouts and designs, including some that have triangles and things like that. So there's many different styles out there and available. But I hope you have fun playing around with using up your pretty pieces of pattern paper and not wasting a single millimetre or inch. Yeah, we will see you all again tomorrow at 2 o'clock if you're free. That will be the 1st of August. 2 o'clock we'll be doing the final Crafternoon Box tutorial for July, and then at 4 o'clock tomorrow we'll do the launch of our products for September. So I hope you can come back and join us. Please remember to like the or thumbs up on the video if this has been a good tutorial for you. Pop a comment in if you're watching this at a later date and you've found it to be helpful, and we'd love to see some photos of your finished creations, so please drop them on our Facebook page at Papercrafting Australia. But until next time, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you soon. Bye.